It was a Monday unlike any other in the glass fortress that was Stratagem Technologies, an empire built on algorithms, AI, and arrogance. The boardroom buzzed with synthetic confidence, men and women in sleek suits tapping at devices, sipping soy lattes, and pitching ideas with carefully measured smiles. At the very top sat Edward Vance, the 38-year-old CEO who had taken Stratagem from a startup in a garage to a $4 billion data infrastructure powerhouse. He was the type of leader who always had the answer, until today. Because today, the system collapsed. Not metaphorically. Literally. It started with a single blinking red icon on the mainframe dashboard in the operations hub, tucked beneath the executive floor. Within seconds, the lights flickered. Seconds later, dozens of systems locked up, client dashboards, real-time analytics platforms, high-security data vaults, even the biometric office doors. The entire company's backbone, its core, was failing. And nobody had a clue why. IT teams scrambled, shouting across cubicles, booting up emergency protocols that only led to more errors. Whispers of a ransomware attack began circulating. Contracts worth millions were in jeopardy. Partner companies were pulling out. The media, somehow, already knew. Edward stood frozen in the nerve center, his suit perfectly pressed, his mind in chaos. Every solution he had engineered was betraying him. He looked around at his best engineers, top Ivy League grads, former NASA coders, and none of them could fix it. Down on the ground floor, nobody was shouting. Nobody panicked. Nobody noticed the 50-year-old janitor named Thomas. Thomas Brown had worked at Stratagem for nearly 15 years. He pushed his squeaky cart every evening through the cubicles and hallways, emptying bins, wiping down screens, and fixing the odd flickering bulb. Most executives never looked twice at him. But Thomas? He watched everything. He wasn't just a janitor. He had been something else before, long ago, in a life nobody asked about. Back upstairs, the boardroom had turned into a war room. A $50 million deal with the Department of Energy hung in limbo. Edward's hands trembled as he dialed a secure line to their biggest client in Brussels, only to realize the secure satellite call system was down too. One by one, his empire was turning to dust. That's when Thomas entered the server room. Quietly. Unnoticed. He pulled a key card from his pocket, one that nobody remembered giving him, yet it granted him access. It was old. Legacy issued. From a different era of Stratagem. From before Edward was CEO. Inside, backup fans whirred weakly. The place was sweltering. Red lights blinked like angry eyes. Thomas walked slowly to the main command terminal, dusted off the panel, and sat down. His fingers, thick and calloused from years of manual work, danced across the keys with unexpected grace. He didn't use the GUI interface the IT teams had been panicking over. He went deeper. To the shell. He bypassed the recent firmware updates that were clashing with an outdated internal API. He manually unhooked the system from a compromised data channel that nobody had noticed was silently routing packets to an unauthorized overseas server. And then he did something nobody in the company had done in years. He rewrote part of the original source code. The code that Stratagem had been built on. Code he had written himself, decades ago. Because Thomas hadn't always been a janitor. Once, he was the co-founder. But his name was erased from the story after a corporate buyout he never contested. Not because he lost. Because he chose to walk away. He had watched greed infect what he once built out of hope, and instead of fighting, he handed over the reins, choosing peace over profit. And for 15 years, he had simply cleaned up the mess. Now, he was cleaning up a bigger one. When the mainframe rebooted and the systems came back online, one by one, like survivors of a storm, nobody could understand what had happened. Edward stared at the monitors. Who did this? No one had the answer. Until one of the IT interns, a quiet girl named Molly, noticed a security log showing an override key named T-Brown_01. She gasped. Thomas. Who's Thomas? Someone asked. She replied, the janitor.